So probably about 10 years ago, my nephew went with his family to church down in the suburbs of Philadelphia. And they went for the Good Friday service. And he was probably maybe 3 or 4 years old. And you know, whenever you have a 3 or 4-year-old, they have a tendency of saying things, right? And they say whatever is on their mind. And so my nephew had sat through the Good Friday service, and like our Good Friday service, at the end of the service, everything's dark, right? And everybody gets up to leave silently and leave the church. And my nephew is standing in the back with his parents and my mother-in-law, and he says really loudly in front of everybody, "I don't know what everybody is sad about. He's going to be alive again in just a couple days." And my mother-in-law said, "You're going to have to talk to Uncle Gary and Aunt Stina about that when you see them in a few days." And I think about that every single time we do the Passion reading. In seminary, we are taught what's called systematic theology, which is a very fancy phrase for ways in which you think about God, okay? That's really what theology is the thought or the thinking, the intentional thinking, analyzing of God. And one of the core tenets of what we believe as Lutherans is this doctrine that's called theology of the cross. And the basic premise of that whole idea comes from the question, why did Jesus have to die the way that he did for the forgiveness of our sins? For many of us, we kind of go through this season of Lent. We hear all of these different stories, and we hear about the miracles and the teachings of Jesus and the values and the way that he led his life and all of those kinds of things. But for many of us, we don't have the opportunity because of our busy work schedules or whatever it is, maybe to come and attend the very last of Lent, which is Holy Week, starting today with Palm Sunday, and then particularly Maundy, Thursday, and Good Friday. Maundy, Thursday being when we remember Jesus and the Passover meal and why we all receive communion. And then Good Friday, particularly when we gather together and we focus particularly around the last 3/4 of the text that we read today. And those were the moments leading up to Jesus' death. Why does that matter? For many of us, we are excited to skip to Sunday, right? Because everybody's here and it's celebratory and it's exciting and it's fun and there's beautiful music and everybody kind of leaves feeling uplifted and ready to go and ready to tackle the week, right? Holy Week, though, leaves you feeling a little different. And I hope that today does the same thing. We are tasked as a community and as individuals in our faith to be reminded that God sent Jesus to be in this world to experience all of humanity, every aspect of what it meant to be human, including to suffer and die. This is the heart of what this concept of theology of the cross is. When we think about Jesus' last moments here on earth, it's a reminder for each and every single one of us that when we suffer, when we hurt, when we doubt, when we have pain, God isn't only there, but God feels it. God understands it because God experienced it through Jesus. And that no matter how difficult our lives may be, no matter how dark the world may become, that we can know that God isn't only there and present with us, but God feels our pain, feels our doubt. And then particularly in just a moment, that God did that and sacrificed Jesus for the forgiveness of our sins. God leveled the playing field. And God reminded all of us that through this sacrifice, that no matter how many mistakes we make, no matter how many times we mess up, no matter how many times we fall short of the glory of God, that we are forgiven and that we are loved unconditionally. So as you walk away from this service today, I hope you walk away with a little sense of sadness, because it's true that God did this, that Jesus died on the cross, that Jesus suffered for each and every single one of us. And Jesus didn't have to do that, but he chose to do that for us. But also, don't forget that in just a week, we'll be here again, celebrating that reality too.